The women on our studio stage here in Television City and others you will soon be meeting allege that they have been victimized by the oldest, sleaziest scam in Hollywood. They claim to have been forced onto that notorious show business institution, the casting couch. They say they have been coerced, threatened, or pressured into exchanging sexual favors for a role in a movie or TV show, some of which didn't even exist. Now, Patty and Maria, our first two guests, actors anxious for work, both claim to have been sexually harassed by the same man. The man at the center of their storm of protest, the storm these women are raising on this live telecast, is this man. There he is. He is a producer, writer, and ex-convict named Sonny Gibson. Now, before we bring Mr. Gibson in on this conversation, ladies and gentlemen, let's hear briefly about his alleged activities. Now, Patty, you were desperate for work.
Yes, I was, Geraldo, and the reason I'm on the show was to inform young men and women who come to Hollywood to be a star that they should contact casting directors that are affiliated with the Casting Association. And what happened to me, I answered an ad in one of the trade papers, and I read for the part. I went up to the casting director's office and I read for the part, and it was a few lines. I was to play the girlfriend of a hitman, and everything was fine. I went home. A couple days later, I got a call. I was to go back up there. I went up there at 5 o'clock in the evening, and nobody was there except the co-producer. And at that time, he gave me 10 pages of dialogue, and he said in order to feel closer to him, he had to get closer to me to feel the part, and would I take off my blouse. I did, because I wanted work so bad that I took my top off, and I didn't really want to, but I was so nervous and so scared that what happened was that I asked him for some soda pop, and he brought it back to me, and I had the script in one hand and the soda pop in the other. And then he started touching me in intimate places, and I had to draw the line at that point. I just didn't feel very good about it all. I mean, I wasn't brought up this way.
Is that the way it ended?
No, actually what happened was, Geraldo, he called up about a week later, and at this time I was married and had to tell my husband what had happened, and I was ashamed and everything. And what happened was he asked me out to dinner in a nice restaurant, and we were to finalize the deal of the motion picture. I went there, and then he said he had to take me on to his house, just for a minute, and I said I didn't want to wait in the car because it wasn't a great neighborhood. I went inside, and then he proceeded to unzip his pants. And at that point, I knew that I couldn't do this anymore. It was against I started to cry, and I told him I wanted to go home, and I didn't want any part of this.
And what did he do?
And he said, oh, he tried to persuade me and tried to touch me, and I said, please, please. What saved me really was crying, and he did give me a ride home. And all I've got to say to everybody, there's a right and a wrong way, and you are protected in Hollywood. You have to go to Casting Association, make sure the casting director is affiliated with them.
We'll tell people how to protect themselves. Mr. Gibson is standing by. I don't want to go there yet. Maria, did Patty's allegation sound familiar to you?
Sounded very familiar, except mine, I went through the proper channels. It came through an agent, my personal agent, actually insisted that I go on this interview, and I ended up taking one of the other agents from the office with me because I didn't want to go alone. He went through elaborate means to set up this interview. I had a 45-minute conversation with him, and he pretended he was another man. He used a different name. Supposedly he was the producer. Gave me so many names of stars that were attached to this project. It was just a way to get me into this meeting. And finally, I did go to the meeting with an agent, and he was very, very disappointed that I wasn't alone, and I knew exactly what he was up to that day. He was surprised to see me come in with someone else, but still he ended up pulling out nude pictures of himself, took out a scene that was nothing but porno stuff. He wanted to rehearse this with me for 6 weeks on my own time.
He wanted to rehearse a porno scene for 6 weeks?
Yes.
And what was he going to pay you for 6 weeks of porno work?
I wasn't going to get anything for the 6 weeks, but I would get $250 for the actual screen test.
Terrific. It's much less than a hooker charges.
Yes.
All right, let's get right to him. I'm sure there are more allegations both Maria and Patty have, but joining us right now, our live program, joining us via satellite from our satellite studio across town, the co-author of this controversial self-published autobiography called Mafia Kingpin. He is Sonny Gibson. Now, in the book, among other crimes, Mr. Gibson claims to have murdered over a dozen men. Sonny, is that true? Did you kill over a dozen men?
About 14, Geraldo. How are you today?
I'm fine. Welcome to the program.
Thank you. I'd like to make a comment. I'm not proud of the past I live.
You're not proud of the 14 guys you killed?
I'm not proud of the past I live. I changed inside prison with the help of a priest, and today, after I do a film, I go around the country talking to kids about crime and getting off drugs.
Okay.
And the 14 people that were marks were set up through the Mafia, the Sicilian Mafia, and the CIA, and they were communist terrorist groups.
Okay.
There were never hits that were done.
They were never good guys you killed, only bad guys.
Well, I don't say that. Murder's wrong, Geraldo.
Okay. Sonny, let me ask you, is it true that in 1970 you were convicted of fraud by wire and you served 3 years probation?
Yes, I serve a lot of
Oh, wait,
probation.
then in 1971, convicted of perjury, you had 4 years probation.
That's true.
1972, convicted of mail fraud, 5 years probation. 1973, convicted of assault with a broken bottle and bribing a witness. You got life imprisonment. You only served
Yes,
6
the-
years. Released on parole.
The 1972.
Oh, I don't want to get into this. Generally
Well,
speaking, that's correct, right? Generally speaking, I'm right?
Yes, I got probation, Geraldo. One was a $150 million fraud that I had, and I refused to testify against the Mafia, and I conned the United States government.
Okay, so you
And
found the
because-
government. Okay. So, Sonny, let me
because
get to
they-
the point here. I understand. You're very colorful. That's why we wanted you on the show.
Well, because they couldn't, because they wouldn't make a rat out of me, they
Right.
set me up, and I did do time
Okay.
in prison.
According to the Ventura County District Attorney's Office, they call you a liar, a skunk, and an SOB.
That's true.
Wait, hold it. I haven't gotten to the
that-
allegations yet.
That's true, but the district attorney office, I've been out 13 years, and they keep telling people I'm a bad guy, but I've done a lot of films, and I give half my money to kids, and I talk a lot of kids.
Okay.
And if you read the book, Geraldo, the book shows how we set up the district attorney. So naturally,
You set
he
him
has
up too. They call you a leech on society, and they say that you've repeatedly conned innocent victims out of large sums of money, and the Hollywood Reporter last year said you were involved in a tangle of lawsuits and bankruptcies.
Yes, the two suits, and as an entertainer, you will know this. A company beat me out of $1 million, and we won the lawsuit, Geraldo.
Okay, great. On my stage, Sonny,
I
on my
like to
stage,
say-
two of your actresses, hold it, two actresses who allege that you acted in at least, let me say as kindly as I possibly can, an improper manner in terms of casting them. Both are in disguise, both are using anonymous names, but Patty and Maria have told us, and I'll summarize it as briefly as I can. First, Patty said that on 2 occasions you came on to her in a very aggressive sexual manner, at one point asking her to strip nude and putting your hands on her body and attempting to manually rape her in a vehicle. The other one, Maria, says that when she showed up at your home late at night with her agent, you were extremely disappointed that she did not come alone, and you showed her porno films and claimed you had an impressive physical endowment, shall I say?
Geraldo, there was a producer was fired a few years ago, and he's been warned, the district attorney's also been warned, and the FBI has been called in on these accusations, and the FBI is investigating these. These women are lying. If there's any complaint, I suggest them to go to the district attorney and file charges.
Okay, Patty,
But
look at the monitor. Wait, Sonny, listen, and then I'm going to give you a fair
No,
chance to
excuse
respond.
me, Geraldo, excuse me. This is an FBI investigation. Your show called me to ask me to come on.
To talk
because I
about the
have to
controversial
talk
aspects
about-
of show business. Patty,
No,
is this the
no,
man?
they
Is
did
this
not.
the guy? Hold it,
I'm
Sonny,
sorry.
listen.
I'm sorry, Geraldo.
Listen
There's
up.
an
Is
FBI
this the man?
Yes, this is the
investigation
man.
going
What did
on
this
in
man do to you,
project.
Patty?
This man touched me in places I didn't want to
There's
be
an FBI
touched.
investigation going on.
Okay.
And your
Two
show
witnesses,
has
hold it, Sonny.
mislead
2
me.
witnesses confirmed Patty and Maria's essential charges. One of them is Mimi, who is one of Sonny's former secretaries. Now, Mimi, with the colorful
I
red
never
hat
had
on,
a secretary named Mimi.
claims it's a
Geraldo,
phony name.
I
She's
never had
they're
a
so
secretary.
frightened.
Geraldo,
They claim to have seen
Geraldo,
both Mr. Gibson's financial
Geraldo,
cons and his
Geraldo,
sexually harassing conduct during auditions. Now, Mimi, is that Sonny
Geraldo,
Gibson?
Unfortunately,
I
it
never had a
is.
secretary named Mimi.
I know you didn't, but she's using a phony name because she's scared to death of you, Sonny. You said you killed 14 guys, for God's sakes.